I said to Mr Chippie, we've got no customer repairs other than the Uniden 300, which we're waiting for a capacitor for the power supply on. And is there anything you want to particularly see done? Because we do have some new sets in stock which we haven't done yet. And this is on the pile of new sets because it's in a box and it's a Giessen KR200. So it looks like a set of disco lights. I said, right, okay, we're not going to do that today. We'll do this instead. A Merit hand portable. A Merit hand portable that's so big, if I get my Capo Panther out, and hopefully this will have a 1.5 metre telescopic aerial that's intact, because if it hasn't, there's no point in going on with it. That's fine. Now, if I remember correctly, this is a 6-channel crystal controlled radio like the Sirtel 417, Great 417, GT 417. It's the same as it is the Great GT 417. There's a possibility, I don't know if it's true, there's a possibility there was a CTVR one. Now most of the CTVR are AM 29 megs, very, very grey area, certainly illegal unless you're a licensed amateur and you're putting them on licensed channels. And I do have one of those because I bought it in a box of stuff. We might spend 60 quid putting it on amateur, but it's just there for the novelty, isn't it? So this is huge, but it's metal cased, and they don't kind of quite do 4 watts usually. So you've got this one, you've got the Great, you've got the Sirtel, which came with all 6 channels populated. Could have the CTVR. I saw a pre-production one in a magazine once. If any of you have got a CTVR which says 2781 on it, and it really is, then by all means put in the comment. I suspect this will be one set of channels fitted in the A position, and you are expected to buy other crystals to populate the other channels. I think that's as far as there are on this particular Great GT417, and it's not dissimilar in it to the Great set used in the Fidelity 1000 and all those other. I don't want to muddle these screws up because we've still got screws on the bench for the base station. I'll just get a little pot of one of Mr Chippie's little things. Now the disappointing thing is they don't have an external aerial socket, they don't have an earphone socket. At least have an external power socket, so at least we can power it without piles of crocodile clips. So it means that if you're setting up the receive with the cyanide meter, we've got to get access to the loudspeaker, and we've got to get access to the antenna wiring, and we've got to be able to bypass the loading coil. Oh my goodness, it's got a full set of crystals. Wow. So that's very much unlike the Great version. Whoa-ho-ho! How exciting is that? It's been sat on the shelf about 15 years. So this one has its battery holder, which is 10 AA's. And like any of these things, if you're going to be using throwaway batteries, alkaline batteries, then you will need to put dummy batteries in, because it will be a 12-volt radio. Now often you see radios like this and the Binatone Long Ranger, which are different manufacturer, but a similar idea in a metal case with a battery snap like that, which fits a PP3 9-volt battery. PP3 UK designation there. It's 6F22 in the United States. And what happens is, that's missing. And you see them advertised, and somebody's clicked a PP3 9-volt battery to that, and they go, shown in working order. You know, how is a 4-watt hand portable going to draw current, the current it needs from a 9-volt battery? It's absolutely stupid, stupid, stupid. These are readily available for, or we've even got them. You know, you can say to me, will you sell me one? We've got these brand new in stock. We've got the 8s, we've got the 10s. So, well, I can't say how impressed I am that this has come with all 6 channels. Because with crystals these days being £30 each, there's a lot of money's worth of crystals potentially. Not that they have a resale value. Now these have an S meter. I have done the great version of these before. We would have got notes for it, but we'll work our way through it, I'm sure. I might have even found a circuit diagram on file. I don't think they really are 4 watts. I think they're about 3.5, but it's a long time since I looked at one. And we've got to get the far side of that loading coil, and that's going to be a pain. Yep, to get some true measurements, that's what we're going to have to do. I suppose if we were just servicing one for a customer, we could just tune it up into its antenna. That'd be a cheating way to do it. What we need is a power connector to go into there. And we do have one. And it's not that little mains adapter, which is now thrown on the floor. So I'm going to hope that this is positive centre and connect this up. We'll set the power supply to 12 volts and we're going to set the current limit to about 300 milliamps in case I'm wrong. And that's powered up successfully, so we can advance the current limit now, which will advance to 1 amp. Like all cheap radios, the crystals don't have individual frequency adjustments, so as these drop with age, they drop individually at different amounts. It's not ideal. I mean, I'm from a business radio background, and crystal controlled radios, every channel would be individually able to be adjusted, but this isn't the case on a CB. And we've got scrap American ones as well. There's a scrap American one here, and it's just the same arrangement, so, you know, it's not that the UK ones were any worse. I better print off a circuit diagram and see if we can get to the loading coil easily. So behind the scenes, I've looked at the circuit diagram and made some notes. I've taken the printed circuit board out, I've put it back again. The loading coil is that. You can't get to the other side without taking a shield plate off, so we're not going to do that. So where it goes to the aerial, we've disconnected it there. I know it's a flawed test, but we're going to be connecting our crocodile lead clip to the test set, and that's how it's going to have to be. I'm not sure they even set them up anywhere like properly at the factory. So the next question is, where is our crocodile clip lead? So let's see what happens when we key up. Switch picture in picture on. So what's that? We're on 3 watt range, and we've got 700 milliwatts, something like that. And so we're not going to be able to read the power properly, but we can tune it up. So let's have a look. Here's the Sirtel circuit, very faint layout. So transmit, I think L12 could be frequency. So 2760029 is probably 60125, channel 1. So our A position, A, B, C, D, E, F, channels equals 1. We'll do this the easy way. We'll go through the channel. Let's turn that squelch. We'll use a handy table out of the realistic service manual. So we'll pop it to channel 2. (2768). 68 is channel 9 for B. Channel C, let's guess it. I bet it's 14. 2773. Yeah. So D, I bet it's 19. Seven, 8 it would be. Yep. Channel E, 8, 9 is channel 30. That's useful because it communicates with a lot of other walkie-talkies that are just 2 channel. And what's the betting that that's channel 40 in the F position? It is. Well, you know what? That's a useful range for 6 channels. So you can communicate with the Midland 3-channel walkie-talkie because it's got channel 40. You can't communicate with the DNT except on 14 and 19. So that's good. Well, that's sorted that one out. So may as well, I think we may as well tune this for channel 30. So 2789125. Let's put that in our signal generator. And that's definitely there, even if that's 10 microvolts. So with any luck, the idea that L12 could adjust the frequency Except I can't see L12 on the layout. L12 is adjustable. I wonder if they've labelled it wrongly and called it L13, because L13 isn't adjustable. And L13 shows up as there, which is the one they've sealed. So that is today's deliberate error, isn't it? Now, how hard is this, and what are we going to get rid of it with? The fact they've sealed this, it's like that typist snowflake stuff. To be honest, it's not that scary. But trying to get the groove out. So we'll start off with the frequency. So I'll put that to the frequency counter. So we want 27,89125, or as close as we can. So it's actually nearest on frequency without the slug in at all. What we'll do is to include the slug in a plastic bag inside the top of the radio somewhere. So that's something which has got us pretty close, and certainly well within specification. 27,89106 is not that far off from 125 at all. So that's got us on frequency. So let's look at the other adjustments. Maximum. 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 So that's now just a shade away from 2 watts. And remember, the loading is wrong. So let's have a look at where we are with deviation. Wallow. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Wallow. 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 It just needs to come up a fraction, and I have come to the conclusion it's VR3. Except none of them are labelled. So I would think the one up there is going to be deviation. But it isn't. It's that one. So we've got about 2.2 there. So if we look at the back of the set, and you've got the aerial there, and you've got the X tools there, you've got the PTT there, we've got a variable resistor there, with a variable resistor there, we've got variable resistor there and a variable resistor there. That is deviation. Now one of these is also the RF meter. So I'd honestly expect the bottom one to be the RF meter. So with this in RF meter mode, and as you can see it's got a reading there of 3. I just want to check that this is what varies it, because it's pretty meaningless because we don't know what the power is. Yeah, it is. So I set it to 3.5 to give it some psychological impressiveness. So that's going to be RF power. And when we look at how many mobile sets don't even have that today, just a fake reading, it's very rare on a handheld. Realistic isn't it? It's battery meter. And of course when it's in battery meter mode, there you have it, you know, it says full. So I think that's all there is we can cover with the transmit. So let's go to the receive. See how touching it makes all the difference. And again, we can't get a true reading as how good this is. And the other thing is, of course, we can't connect to the speaker very easily at all. But we've got to. So you've got 2 speaker connections, of course, and it's the far one which we need to connect the probe to. Unless we can see where that red wire goes. I think the thing to do is I'm going to have to tune this up by ear, which is not the professional thing to do at all. Unless that capacitor there gives us access. You've got the audio chip there, and that is going to be... I think the audio is going to be there. Wow, I'm right. I'm right. We'll go and pinch one of Mr Chippie's crocodile clip leads. Okay, so I've cleaned the controls as best I can, and I've put the aerial back on the aerial wire back on the aerial, and I've just clipped to the end of the telescopic just for to try and get some kind of readings. It's not going to mean much. The Squelch preset is clearly that one. So if I turn the Squelch to full, we can adjust that like that, and I'll adjust it back down again because I think that's about where it wants to be. And as I said before, it's about 2.4 microvolts the way we were reading it. It's about 2.2 microvolts now. It's supposed to be 1.4 microvolts for 20 dB. Well, let's have a look. More like 9. But we can hear about 0.8 microvolts on it. So finally, the S meter, if this was true, then we should have S9. And I'll tell you what, let's see if we can adjust that to say 7. I'm going to put my hand right into there. So I'll have it about there. We'll go back to internal speaker and disconnect that wire I tacked onto the capacitor. There's quite some corrosion on the front of this, because we don't know where it's been in the last 38 years. So the 10 decibel attenuator does work, and I forgot to take a reading of where it was. I mean, theoretically, if the radio does 3.5 watts, it should be 350 milliwatts, but there you go. So it is a useful feature because you're going to be able to drop down your battery consumption. So in conclusion, what we now need to do is to get that field strength meter out and pull up this ridiculously long aerial. Oh my goodness, the aerial has just pulled out. Oh no. And I've got to find the bits that it pulled out with it, the little spring clips. So there's the bit that came out of it. all I can think of doing is to kind of nip up right. That's a bit precarious. I must tell Mr Chippie about that. So I may as well use the Russian diode probe for this. So I've simply put the diode probe on my knee. I've got the aerial and free space between the two benches. And we have a reading. Let's take that picture off. And it's a matter of maximising that reading by adjusting the loading coil. We seem to have got a slight increase there. Just check that one doesn't affect it too. No. So that's that done. So we're now on the channel we've selected, which is channel 30. So I'll put it back together. So in conclusion, we put it back together, and I can't do a on the air test because we don't have an external aerial socket, so it'll only be done with a field test. So I'll get Mr Chippie to take that out with him. It weighs enough without any batteries in it. So we're going to run this on alkaline battery, so we're putting 8 in plus 2 dummies because it's a 12 volt radio, and we know that on 12 volts it's certainly producing in excess of 1.5 watts, even the way we were able to test it, and it is going to be somewhere around, it should be around somewhere around 3.5. So serial number 441, date of manufacture June 1982, and of course with it being made by Great, it's Taiwan, Republic of China. So I really didn't realise that this came with all 6 channels populated, because the Great branded version doesn't. The Sirtel one does. The difference was, if I remember rightly, the Great one was £49.99 and the Sirtel one was £69.99. And of course you got a lot of crystals. So what price this was, I don't know. I can't back check that. But with all 6 sets of crystals in, that's quite good. I'm disappointed about the aerial, but what I've done is that when we pull the second section up, I'll get him to grab the third section, and what I've done is to put some red marker pen where he mustn't pull it beyond. Both the spring clips are in there, but for some reason it's kind of lost its rolled on the edge, and for some reason that section has lost the rolled bit. So I think somebody's been a bit over excited pulling it out, and we know these have to be always treated with kid gloves. I'll switch it on the bench and we won't hear anything. I'll turn the signal generator off. We'll switch it to channel 19 and go 19 Roger, just in case somebody's at the holiday park up the road. So that's channel, and so that's going to be channel 19. I've just knocked the camera. 19 Roger. I'm just going to hold the aerial. It'll be easy if we put this down. Just see whether we can actually hear anybody. Out of all the channels, that's the one that sounds like it's got dead key on it. So there you have it, the very unusual Merit GT. Oh, it's a Merit 6000, so it doesn't use the GT417 number like the rest of these do. Merit 6000. And at least we had this, which helps, but there are errors in this, as you saw. I really can't see how these were ever set up properly at the factory. You saw what a struggle that I had to get test points. So as I said earlier in the video, unless they made the printed circuit board and then did the alignment with that on what you call a pin jig, where things make contact underneath with no wiring, that is the only way I can see they align this properly, because once that loading coil's in and those shield plates are on, you can't get to the far side of the loading coil, and so none of the adjustments you make can be meaningful. So with that, we don't quite know what it does. And what a shame that there wasn't an external aerial socket. It made all the difference to alignment and all the difference to what you could do with it. Thanks for watching the Merit 6000 from 1982.